Yo, have you guys noticed something? Every time I watch a superhero movie, for the most part, the superheroes nowadays are skinny, scrawny, Pedro Pascal type people. And it makes me wonder, is society trying to make men weaker on purpose? Seriously. You know, when you go back and you watch the hero movies from the 1980s, the 1990s, they're strong, you know? They have muscles, they're masculine. Go back and look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. Go back and look at Sylvester Stallone and Rambo. Look at Fight Club. The idea of masculinity was strength, power, and not only mental strength, but physical strength as well. But now when I turn on TV and I watch a show about superheroes, it's just an ordinary dude, a schmuck. I'm going to say not even an ordinary dude, a less than ordinary dude. He's scrawny, he's skinny, he's weak. And this is coming from a scrawny, skinny, weak guy. You know, I should be celebrating because honestly, media pushing this agenda of the weak male, the scrawny male, the skinny male, that it benefits guys like me, right? People don't realize how much media affects the way you see the world, your perception of things. And if the media is pushing out the agenda of the weak male, the skinny, scrawny, defenseless male, females will subconsciously internalize that and they'll seek out those kind of guys. They'll give those guys opportunities, you know? And overall, I think it's a bad thing. I think it weakens the species. But as a scrawny, skinny male, that shit is in my benefit, right? It benefits me at the end of the day. But it also fucking bothers me. You know, I have recently started going to the gym. I started maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe even. I can't remember. When I first started dating my girlfriend, my current girlfriend, I had just maybe started going to the gym maybe 2-3 months before that. And the reason I started going to the gym and working out was because of toxic masculinity, as they would call it. As the woke mob would call it, the toxic masculinity, the Bradley Martins, the Andrew Tate, the Goggins effect. Those videos started showing up on my YouTube feed and it influenced me to start thinking about eating right, working out, going to the gym. Right now, to be honest, I've lost weight. If I had made this video in, I'm going to say 2023, I would have been much bigger, a little bit bigger than I am right now. I've lost a lot of weight because there's a lot of stuff happening in my life. But I do want to get back on that horse of getting bigger, getting stronger. And I think that the agenda right now that society is pushing is to make men weaker on purpose. I do. I really do. Look around you. Look at the media. Look at all the TV shows. Look at the celebrities that they push. They're no longer the buff, strong, athletic type. They're the weak, scrawny, defenseless type. Human beings are influenced by the stories that they tell each other. And the story that is being told in 2025 is the story of how superior being weak is to being strong. How being truly masculine, you know, being influenced and governed by your testosterone is toxic. That's the word they love to throw around and use. Toxic masculinity. And I think that, look, I'm not going to say that there isn't a little bit of truth in that phrase, toxic masculinity, but we need toxic masculinity. That's my argument. You know, throughout history, human beings, the reason our species has been able to thrive, to grow, to survive in harsh environments is because of toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is what motivated human beings to build a boat and try to cross the ocean. Toxic masculinity is what built empires. Toxic masculinity is what drove conquest, innovation, greed. All of those things, we need those as a species. This plain, vanilla, weak, generic man that they want to push on you is not good for society at all. It's just not. They're sucking the soul out of men to make us generic clones. Androgynous. No different from females. That's what the real agenda is. The real agenda is to make you androgynous, make you a blob, personalityless, generic, a consumer, easy to manipulate, easy to control. Because when you really think about it, toxic masculinity is what causes a revolution, right? When there's enough young males that are quote unquote toxic and they reach a threshold where they no longer agree with the agenda that the government is pushing, they are the ones that overthrow governments. Throughout the history of humanity, it's never been women who have overthrown governments. It's never been the weak, comfortable men who have overthrown governments. It's always the angry, aggressive, strong, toxic male who decides, you know what? We don't need a king anymore. Let's overthrow him. Let's go into the palace and let's kill everyone and let's overthrow this bastard and let's be the ones in charge. Let's take control of our own destiny. And what the government is doing, what society is doing, is they're getting rid of that element, that edge of self-determination that they've now deemed toxic. You know, nobody, the women and the children, when there's a war, when they're about to get invaded, nobody's pointing at the soldiers and saying, oh, look at those toxic men over there defending us. Oh, when there's a fire and there's a building burning down and some strong guy shows up and he breaks down the door and rescues the family, nobody says, oh, look at that guy. He's toxic masculinity. Oh my God, I'm so afraid. When it benefits society, they're glad. They're happy to use that toxic masculinity. They're happy to harness it for their own benefit. But the moment the toxic masculinity turns around and starts to point out the flaws in society, the inequality, the stuff that the toxic masculinity does not agree with, they want to say, oh, we've got to neuter them. We've got to snip their balls off. Working out, getting fit, that's being vain. Having standards as a man, that's being shallow. Throughout history, the society of American culture in the West, Western culture, I've noticed one trend lately, as of late. As a man, having any type of standard, any type of self-worth, any type of requirements or boundaries is deemed being toxic. Trying to be the leader of your household, the head of the house, toxic. Disciplining your children, toxic. Having the wrong political ideas, toxic. So I'm convinced that they're making us weaker on purpose. They want us to be weaker. How is it possible that the man who's in the gym pumping iron, trying to get stronger is called toxic, but the man who's walking down the street with a skirt on, who's confused about what gender they are, who's trying to influence children, is not considered toxic? That person is praised. That person is put on a pedestal. That person is idolized. Explain that one to me. So how can you say that I'm being paranoid when I say that society is trying to force men into being weaker, when we can literally see that every single TV show, the media in general, is pushing a degenerate, weak male agenda? How can you say I'm being paranoid when we go to the movie theater and you see 5, 6, 7 movies with Pedro Pascal as the protagonist? An ordinary, weak, effeminated man. Somebody make it make sense. Have I just not downloaded the patch update? Maybe I'm out of date. Maybe this video is going to age horribly. Maybe in 10 years, when everybody's a soy boy, everybody's weak as I used to be before I started going to the gym. And I'm still weak. I'm still scrawny. I mean, I got a little bit of muscles, but I'm still scrawny. I'm still a weak, scrawny man. I don't got much going on. But even I can see the writing on the wall, right? Maybe this fucking this video is gonna age super bad, and I'm gonna be thinking to myself, like, what was I saying? Well, let me go take my estrogen shot really quick. my government mandated estrogen shot. Let me go take it real quick. Yeah, let me put on my skirt, my uniform, my new uniform in the big 2030. Because the way it's going, shit is looking bleak. It's looking gray. That's what they want. That's what they want. They want us to be a gray, gay society. Weak, with no independent thought, and unable to defend ourselves. Anyways, Unk is yapping here. I might just be talking out my ass. Subscribe, turn on notifications. Turn on notifications. We stream every single day, 6:30 p.m. Catch you later. Peace.